Executive pay in Australia is a significant issue, and in particular for boards of directors, it takes a lot of their time. A recent study by the Australian Council of Super Investors found that CEO pay is 70 times what average salary is. That, coupled with the shareholders' views of pay and their limited ability to see how pay might link to firm performance, and in particular companies with declining performance where the CEO and executives still receive a bonus, is certainly a challenge that boards have to face going forward. I've done some research on executive pay in Australia over the last decade, and from the time where we were able to gather a whole range of data on executive compensation, I looked at the pay of not just the CEO but the top executive team. And certainly there's very limited research in Australia that looks at the executive team. My research was picked up by the Productivity Commission when they examined executive pay in a comprehensive way in Australia, and they used my research to ground their study in terms of the status quo in executive pay in Australia and the research that had been done both in Australia and internationally. And they used the study to be able to develop some recommendations for pay and executive pay and governance of that in Australia. One of their recommendations was to have an independent executive remuneration committee. So that would require the remuneration committee to be made up solely of independent directors. That's not something that has been seen in Australia in the past, but it is certainly something that is seen in overseas countries like the US. My advice to companies would be, and to board of directors, is to really start looking at the corporate strategy, really start looking at what you want from the executives, and start looking at using performance hurdles that might link to that, rather than just trying to keep proxy advisors happy. I think if they can clearly demonstrate the link between pay and performance and pay and strategy, then there certainly shouldn't be any undue influence from shareholders to vote that down.